March 4 trial date that was set today by Judge Chutkan. Do you think it's fair?
Oh, it's absolutely fair. Judge Chutkan deliberated, heard everyone, both sides, and set a date that I think is a reasonable date. It may get changed, but for now I think it's reasonable. But I'll tell you, KAITLAN, the moment in that hearing that struck me, I can only have two words to describe it: as stunningly stupid. And that was when Trump's attorney compared their desire to delay the case to what happened in the case of Powell versus Alabama, a 1931 case involving the Scottsboro Boys, who were convicted of raping two white women. And the case went to the U.S. Supreme Court, and their convictions were reversed. And what the Trump team did was say that, well, what happened in that trial is what could happen here in this trial, which is absolutely absurd. In the Scottsboro case, the Scottsboro Boys were indicted and were in trial 6 days later, not even given the opportunity to choose their attorneys. In this case, there was an indictment, but that was the trial date is 7 months out. He has experienced lawyers, a whole team, investigators. And it was stunningly stupid because, one, the comparison is ridiculous. But second, if you want to alienate a judge in a case, this was exactly what to do. A female judge, a black judge, and to talk about that case and compare it to Trump's case was absurd. And Judge Chutkan really took them up on it and said, this case is entirely different. I think she was absolutely offended. It was really a stunningly stupid thing to do.
Yeah, she noted, as you did there, I mean, the timing difference of that and also just the completely different cases. I mean, if you had been the judge in that room today, what would you have said to Trump's defense attorneys when they brought that up?
Yeah, well, first of all, I would have read the pleadings and probably maybe had a law clerk with me. And I think my first thing would have been, wait, what? Having read it, and then decided, oh, we're going to address this in the courtroom. And she did. She said it was profoundly different, and I think she was offended. So hopefully there's a learning curve on the lawyer's side to not go rogue like this again and take cases that have absolutely nothing in common and try to show that they do have something in common, which in this case they did not.
And one of the biggest points of disagreement was over the amount of discovery, the timing here. And Judge Chutkan was saying, you know, discovery in 2023, it's not like sitting in a warehouse with boxes of paper where you're looking at every single page. But do you think the defense has a legitimate point when they say it is a lot to go through in this time frame that they have on their hands?
I think the defense has a very good point to make about discovery and going through the documents. As you've noted, fortunately, we're at a time where things are digitized. You can do word searches to look through documents. So it's not to belittle the fact that there are lots of documents that have to be gone through. At the same time, this judge is aware that this is a new day, and there's a way that they don't have to sit down and go through every single piece of paper. In addition, the prosecution has said, look, we're not even going to use classified documents when we present our case. So I know she gets it, and having been a litigator herself, she understands. She was a defense attorney. She understands exactly what's involved in discovery. So I think this was a fair conclusion for her to come through, to give them the time to go through the documents and be ready to go to trial in March.
Trump wasn't at that hearing today, but he wrote on social media shortly after that he is going to appeal this date. I mean, is it clear to you on what grounds he would appeal this on, could be able to? Is that even possible here?
I think it is not possible, and his lawyers know this, to appeal a trial date. It's not possible. So it's all talk, which is what he does. This man has a constant need to talk. Sometimes the talk is it's incoherent, makes no sense. And this makes no sense. His lawyers know you can't appeal a trial date. So this talking will continue, and I will tell you, he is a nightmare for his lawyers. When you have somebody like Trump who has a fragile ego, who is a misogynist, who is a racist, in my view, and who also has this constant need to talk, then there's a term for that, logorrhea, then that is a real problem. It's going to be an issue for his lawyers to try to keep him quiet, even in the courtroom. And what a black woman judge is going to be there telling him when he can talk. and how to behave. So this is going to be a very interesting trial.